Welcome, everyone, to the Real Whovians cast. I am your host, Matrix Lord 212, and I'm with Phillip. What's up, Phillip?
Afternoon, Joe.
I'm having issues with these damn computers, so you can't see me, unfortunately, but that's okay. Nobody wants to see my ugly face. So, I want to talk about the Rosa Parks episode, and I know we went over this, and we had you and Vaughn in the cast, but
Mhm.
we had some comments, and some people were concerned about things, and I just want to clear the ice, break, break the ice. Is it
Yep.
break the ice?
Yep.
Whatever the terminology is. I just wanted to just clear the way, the air, and say that on this show, uh, everybody on the show, we have a good time, we get along. If there was ever a situation where people were not getting along, I would end the cast and I would scrap the cast and you would never see the cast. But,
Understood.
sometimes debates get really
Heated.
deep,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes people can misunderstand the debate for a fight. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I just want to know from your point of view, when you had a cast, was everything fine? I know we got a delay, but I mean, you had a good time, right? When we had a cast.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
All right. So we're not gonna like every episode, and I love the first out of 10. No, you can talk. Good.
Yeah. I like the Rosa Parks episode. As I told you the other day, I gave it a 10. I liked how it was presented. I understand from certain points of views from people who actually know history more than I do. I understand their point of views, and when they say that it's not accurately represented, that's fair enough. And people are entitled to their opinion about the story itself and how it was played out. Um, in regards to me and Vaughn, Vaughn was teaching me a bit more history that I didn't know, so she was helping me out on this Rosa Parks situated debate, and we even carried on the debate beyond the live cast that we did. So that was a very good history lesson I got from her. So for me, I had no issues with the debate. I have no issues with the story Rosa Parks itself. I thought it was well represented from what I learned from it, and I appreciate learning more about it through other means and other media. So yeah, it's all good for me at the moment.
Now, I also got some heat saying somebody basically just assuming that people on the cast are racist or against, and I'm like, they were watching Parks on the Real Whovians cast, and I was shocked by this. One, we have many different members on here from many different cultures, religions, races, and to just assume because we don't like racist or against black people, people, maybe they're watching us for the first time and they just assume they don't know we have a huge group that we all can't be here at the same time. They don't know that I write about equality in my poetry when I do that stuff, or that I have, African American cousins. Like nobody knows, and it's not a fair assessment of general. And we do have many different members, like I said. So the problems that I had with the episode had to do with the fact that I felt, and I was talking deep about this to Connor, I felt that the villain lacked depth, that he was not fleshed out. I didn't like the actor playing the villain. I felt that the actor was reading from a cue card. There was no type of emotional response that I actually, the villain hated black people, and he was just reading from a cue card. So I could not hate the villain or like the villain. He was just there because the actor just did not convey the proper emotional response that would require him to be a racist or even a villain. He was just there. So I did not like the actor. I did not like the acting in the episode, other than Rosa Parks, the actress, maybe some of the companions.
Yeah.
I had a huge problem. Now, I've seen this video, I think I shared, that somebody really went deep into this episode saying that they were mad that Chibnall had also co-wrote this episode, but he portrayed every single white person as one white person in this episode that wasn't racist, and that was not a fair reflection of the time, that there were some people that were against racism. Some were afraid to speak out, or some did speak out. And, that was not a fair representation of the white people in that era. And it wasn't a fair representation of the black people in that era, too, because there was other things going on. Now, again, I know that this is not, we're saying history lesson, but it is because Chibnall had came out and said that this show is educational. It's for children. So he is trying to teach us something.
Yeah, of course.
And that is the main concern that I have, is because if you say it's not a history lesson, well, it is, because Chibnall said he's trying to educate the world to what stuff happens with Doctor Who and the BBC children's show, and he's trying to make it educational. Well, that you can't make it educational if it's not a fair representation of the past. But that being said, I did enjoy the actress that played Rosa Parks.
Yeah.
I had some issues with, if I was the writer and I had to go with Chibnall's script, I would probably have Yasmin Khan be with Rosa Parks instead of Ryan with Martin Luther King, because Yasmin more bonds with Rosa than Ryan. Ryan didn't even know who she was, and Yasmin Khan's a woman, and she says that, Rosa Parks opened doors for her as well, and for women everywhere. It wasn't just because she was black. It was because many different races that she opened up the door for women. So I would have definitely had Yasmin Khan going to talk to Rosa with Martin Luther King than Ryan. Ryan, he's so awestruck about Martin Luther King, but he's not awestruck to really know who she was.
Yeah, I know.
And then all of a sudden, because he didn't know who she is, now he knows who she is, and now he's awestruck,
Mm-hmm. I had the opinion that Chibnall. Yeah, I had the opinion that Chibnall only wrote for the time traveler bloke's part, whereas Mallory Blackman was the one that did most of the Rosa Parks segment of the episode. You can tell though, because I don't think Mallory Black would have added in the time traveler part of it if you wanted to do a pure historical. So I think Chibnall said, "Hang on, let's have some sort of twist to it, and have this guy come in and trying to change a bit of the future, or trying to nudge it on a bit."
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, but having said that, I disagree with the fact that Ryan was the one that had to get to meet Rosa Parks, because if you had Yasmin hung around with Rosa Parks, it would have been too woman centric, and then people would say that, oh, Chibnall's being all misogynist against men, not giving them a part in the episode, and he's writing against men. So you don't really want that to come across. You know what I'm saying? So I reckon,
Right.
what he did with putting Ryan in that spot is a good thing. But then again, it's another Ryan centric episode. I'm thinking you need to cut that down now and let someone else have a go. So yes, you're right to a certain point. Yasmin should have had a spotlight. On the other hand,
I just feel Yasmin has nothing to do for the past 3 episodes, and it's not fair. I mean, you gotta be equal. I mean, I understand she has episodes, but you gotta give her a little bit something in these episodes instead of just being there. You know what I'm saying? I could have done something to explain why this guy was going back in time. Maybe there was a criminal that was an African American that killed his parents, and he just hated black people when he was racist, and he formulated his whole thing based on, one person. In fact, if the doctor would have showed him, or maybe if he would have almost been killed, and if he was saved by a black person, then
Mm-hmm.
that would have been even better because he would have learned something instead of just being a hollow villain that will come back later on and do some other stuff. You know, like maybe he's the one that burns the witches, or maybe he does stuff in the past with Alan Cummings. I don't know.
That'd be
You
cool.
know,
That would be cool, actually. Having return as a returning contender villain, as opposed to the Stenza, because I mean, the problem with the Stenza thing is if they're supposedly the big bad towards the end of the season, then you would start from now to bring them back into the game and build them up. You can't just bring them up again. So a bit later on down the line, and get no back stuff from it. It doesn't work that way. They should
I
have
mean,
been.
also the fact with the Stenza, they didn't really explain how this race took over 9 galaxies or
Mm,
9 systems without the Doctor knowing. Now, if you would have threw a thing in there and the Doctor said, "Well, I was kind of retired for like 24 years, you know, on a long honeymoon or something or whatever," and that the Doctor wasn't paying attention to what stuff was going on, and that's why the villains didn't bother the Doctor because the Doctor was happy and they just left him alone. That would have made sense how the Stenza came into power, but for the Stenza to just appear to take over 9 galaxies without the Doctor even knowing about it, or even a dimension. I know the universe is a big place, but when it comes to the
yeah,
Doctor, it isn't a big place.
and exactly. And also, if the sends all that galaxies or galaxy spanning, you would think the Time Lords would get involved and sort them out because
Exactly. Or somebody would. Even the Daleks
yeah,
would be like,
exactly. Yeah.
"Hey, you're stepping on our territory," because the
Mm,
fact of the matter that these alien races do not encounter each other in space, like there's not an altercation, or like the Daleks don't bump into the Cybermen and saying, "Hey, this is our quadrant." That's a little bit weird. Like the Daleks would be attacking somebody, and by accident, a villain would step in, and then they would get Daleks or something. So the fact that the Daleks would even allow someone else taking over multiple races. Now, unless of course it was a Cyberman, because the Daleks and the Cybermen, they kind of drew like a map and said, "All right, you're over there, we're over here." You know what I'm saying? But now you're talking about the Stanza, and I doubt that even the Cybermen or the Daleks would allow anybody to get bigger than they are, because I think like the Daleks and the Cybermen kind of have an understanding that when everybody's said and done, and they have half the universe, and then they have half the universe, they'll kill each other. Then
mm,
they'll go to war with each other. But right now, they're taking over as much as they can. And this grace of the Stenza stepping in, like, who the hell are you guys? There's no way, even with the Medusa Cascade, with the Jadoon, the police force of the universe, there's
yeah.
no way that would happen at all. So, I mean, it's not just the Doctor traveling through time and space. There's other people that are police force in space. There are rules. It's not want. And Chibnall lacking is by putting stuff in there, like lines in there, like the stanza, like, oh my God. Because that would never be. That you can't. If the TARDIS takes you to every place you need to be where you're needed, the TARDIS would have took the Doctor to the stanza before they started taking over anything.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm talking. But anyway, look, we're not going to like every episode. In short, we're not going to like every episode, but there are times when we don't like episodes. And for me, I didn't like the episode. Now I gave it a 5 out of 10. It was better than stuff. I'm not saying it was the worst episode I've ever seen, but I didn't give it a pass. Feel that with Chibnall being a master of characterization, he failed in this respect, and he failed to
Well,
make the villain interesting.
the interesting thing of that is we're seeing how he's dealt with history on a what's the word I can use on a small scale. I mean, on a small scale with Rosa. Let's see how he deals again with history when we reach the witches one. Well,
Yeah.
I mean that would probably be a lot more akin to the Salem witch trials than the witch stuff that we had over here. That I
Yeah.
don't, which is again something I don't know anything about. So again, I'm looking forward to learning about what happened.
I don't even think it's in Salem. I think it's in the UK,
I,
right?
mean, I know it's not. It's not in Salem, but it's more to do with the British witch trials this time.
Mm,
So,
okay.
but that's a history I've not learned. So I'm gonna once I've seen that episode, I will look back. I'll look up the history of the British witch trials and see how close to that this is, and then I can kind of say whether they've done right or good or bad. As opposed, right, exactly how you would look at Rosa and say, did they do Rosa justice or not? So
I just wish they would have went about it a different way, where they would have showed the guy trying to alter time and them stepping in every single time. And then nothing being affected, nothing being influenced, nobody talking to anybody. Just you're a spectator, like Back to the Future 2, when Marty's trying to stop, hit the original timeline of, the timeline with 1955 with his other self. You know what I'm saying? Just not interacting with each other like that, like just trying to prevent that, and then them watching for the TARDIS. I really don't understand why they couldn't just beat the crap out of the guy and bring him in the TARDIS in the end, because he can't fight back. So it's like, you have you have like basically four people that could just drag him in the TARDIS. Like, he can't do anything technically. So what are you going to do? Why are you letting him run around, especially with technology, But I mean, I'm sure, Chim Knowles getting his feet wet with stuff. So,
And things like the situation of Rosa, those are fixed points. So it's not. It's not.
Is she she's not. They never established that she was a fixed point, because they would have said something like, "Oh my God, the universe will get destroyed if we don't." Like, they never established that she was a fixed point. You would think that she's a fixed point, but they never established that.
That's true, but for history and for ourselves, we know that happened. We know that happened. We know it happened, so it has to happen the way it happened. And there was no reason for them to actually be there to sort of interfere, because it would have happened the way the history dictates it.
Right. It was like a ripple. Will happen anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Here's another thing. We got the arachnids in the UK. That I'm very interested in.
Hang on.
Because I always...
Connor wants to jump in here.
Send him a link.
All right, 1 minute.
And if I have to drop out for a second, guys, it's just because, then we'll end it. But
okay, hang on. Right, let me go to your. Where are you?
Just copy and paste what I.
Yeah, no, I'm just trying to.
Sent you.
And then.
Yes, please be aware that there's only one Matrix Lord 2 and 2. It's just a double thing. This computer, so.
Okay, he's on his way.
And this lady gave me cream cheese for a bagel. Unbelievable. Damn it. Always check Dunkin' Donuts when they give you bagels, because it could be the wrong thing. Anyway. Yeah, arachnids in the UK. Hello.
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 How are you?
Right, so you people with sticks up your fucking asses.
Go on.
What are you talking about, Rosa still?
Yeah, just a little.
Ah.
And you can talk about the arachnid thing as well, because we're almost kind of like worn it out about the Rosa thing. So if you want to talk about the arachnid thing, you're more than welcome.
Oh, right, okay. Thank you, co-host Phillip.
Go on, mate. What's up?
Why do you think we have something up? Why do you think we have something up our arse?
Well,
because we don't like an episode.
I received a message, and this is not to throw him under the bus. I received a message from Billy, who actually agreed with me.
Billy, who goes at me every single day throughout the whole week. He goes at me maybe like 20 times a week. That's like a regular occurrence. Like, if I liked the flower, he'd be like, "Oh no, it's a different color." Like Spider Sense and Zombie Jason, and it's like a comedy thing now. Every single thing is like the opposite opinion to Billy. So is that really a fair assessment from Billy? But okay.
That paragraph that Billy wrote, that was like, what the fuck? I couldn't even read all of that in one go. That was humongous.
So anyway.
My issue with that cast, and I don't mean to like come across as like attacking anyone, but the fundamental thing that people on the cast didn't seem to realize is that the episode wasn't about Claudette Colvin. It was about Rosa.
I know that, but when you mention that, though,
Yeah, perhaps. They mentioned Emmett Till. The thing is that history has forgotten Claudette Colvin anyway.
See, my thing is, well, my thing is that if Phillip didn't have a problem with his own chest, why does Connor Farley have a problem with it?
Well, Phillip doesn't understand when he's being.
Oh shit! Oh my god! All right.
He does. I don't think.
Hang on, Connor. What you're trying to say is I'm not contentious enough to fight an argument. That's
exactly. Exactly.
But Connor.
But it wasn't an argument, Connor. It was a debate.
No, but you didn't. Did you realise that you were getting a bit lectured?
Well, even if I was, at least
come on.
No, but like I don't want to go on a review show. But maybe it's just me talking personally. I wouldn't want to go on a review show and get lectured.
He wasn't getting lectured. She was just talking to him, though. Nobody was fighting anybody, man.
The episode was never promoted as a history lesson. It's nothing but entertainment on a Sunday night.
I put that point across. I said it was just a simple story for kids to enjoy and not think too hard about, basically.
So I think the idea that it wasn't about Claudette Colvin is irrelevant.
It's not that it wasn't about Claudette Colvin. It was that every single. First of all, we talked off air, and I was going over things with you in detail. Why I didn't like the episode, right?
And I agree with you. Like, yeah, I thought that Krasko was a bit of a shit villain, ultimately. But the idea about interfering, I don't think that they really interfered. To be fair, they were kind of always on the perimeter of the event.
On the periphery of the event, yeah.
Yeah.
It didn't need to be nudged in any direction. It would have happened, like I said just now to Joe a couple of minutes ago. To me, it's a fixed point. It would have always happened the way it happened. They didn't really need to be there in the first place.
Now, it would have been interfering had Rosa realised that they were trying to push her in a direction, but actually they weren't, because everything that Ryan did specifically, for example, when he was running to all the bus stops, taking down the printed notices that Krasko had put there,
yeah,
it's not like Rosa was observing him doing it. So I don't. To some people, it might be seen as interfering in the fact that we know how it ends, and certain things were happening to push the events in that direction.
Yeah, but also remember, right? They became part of the narrative along the way, so it wasn't the point of them interfering. They were just part of the narrative.
Yeah, but you know what was brilliant about that at the end? And I know that everyone here paid attention to it, but actually, Graham said, "I don't want to be a part of this."
Yeah, I know. I like that.
So by being there, like they didn't want to be there. It wasn't their intention to be part of the narrative. They were only there because the number of seats couldn't be filled.
Yeah, yeah.
For the events with Rosa to actually happen as history document.
It had to be a packed bus, you're saying? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And unless they were there, it wouldn't have been.
Yeah.
So I don't necessarily think it's interfering. It's just that they were, in a way, in the wrong place at the wrong time. And one thing that you said on the very first cast that you did about it, Joe, was that had Graham and Ryan not, I think you said, manipulated the bus driver, he wouldn't have been so harsh on Rosa.
I don't think that would have. I don't even think that.
Well, I didn't mean that. I didn't mean that. My argument was, what if because they became part of events, that after it happened the way it happened and she gets arrested, what if the bus driver winds up like snapping because the timeline is changed? Like that we find that, oh, correct, the bus driver, because that's my whole point, is that if it's not happening the way it's supposed to happen, then them manipulating to make the bus driver hate even more than he already hates the situation is not good. What's up, Scott?
Going good. Yeah, another problem is how do we know by them sending him back in time that's not the catalyst for him hating?
Well, my thing is, why does he hate? I was talking to Phillip on here when it was just me and Phillip, and I said, why don't they have a thing where somebody that was like African American killed this guy's parents or did something horrible to him, and then they show in the future that he's going to devote his life to that. There was no real thing that I wanted to believe.
Or he's just some simple racist who figured by changing something in the past it would help his life in the future.
In them days, like we're talking 60, 70 odd years ago now, I don't think he needed an excuse to hate on black people.
No, you didn't.
They just did. It was just part of their culture, part of their thinking.
Yeah. And it's not unknown. It still happens to this day. So,
The only reason...
But not all white people. Not all people. And then it showed there was being evil and racist. Every single white people representing one person, not one white person, which is not a fair thing because not that back then, Even the woman in the place was like racist. Every white person in there they made racist, which is not really necessarily because then true. If everybody was racist, then that movement wouldn't have happened. Like there is people that were white that were saying this is wrong. Like so that's what you should have showed is that
I kind of get what
on board with this,
quite badly.
I think that's the issue too.
I get what you're saying, but
because if they were all racist, then nobody would listen, even if she got a right thing with it.
Yeah, I don't think it's right to put a generalization on like all white people were racist at the time.
Yeah.
Or all black people were, whatever. But the majority of people, because of the way that culture was and the way that their thought process was about black people, most of them were racist. The majority.
They could have balanced out the racism. They could have balanced out the racism both ways. They could have the blacks being racist against the whites and the whites. And that's
if a black was racist against white, then immediately he would have been killed.
Yeah, I know. So you can't really say that unless it was this time.
But at the same time, you could almost say that probably by feeling disadvantaged and unfulfilled in society, that black people were being racist against whites because of the color of their skin.
Yeah.
So in a way, it's weird. It's. I don't think it's something that we'll ever truly know the answer to, because you don't go asking around, are you racist? So you'll never know.
Right, I know. No one's going to ever say anything anyway.
Even slavery was a form of racism.
Yeah, slavery was again, a very American idea, which we like.
Abraham Lincoln freed the slaves, so I mean,
you're right. You're right in the sense something that Vaughn said about education. You're right in the sense that we don't have that first-hand experience because it was never a British thing. We've never enslaved anyone. We've never we've never had a big political racism event like the civil rights movement in the 60s and 70s and everything in the 50s. But we on the average day there is still a lot of racism in the UK.
Right.
We have a very racist. A very few faction of people are very racist, and outwardly so. It's two different, completely different cultures. So you're right in that sense. In that, yeah, maybe our education on the issue hasn't been as extensive as the Americans have had it.
Well, what did you think of the episode in general?
I liked it. I thought it was. I know that Vincent and the Doctor is called the best historical of modern Who. But I gotta be honest, I thought Rosa was.
I love that.
I think Rosa was a lot better depicted than Vincent.
I thought Rosa absolutely kicked it out of the park in terms of historicals. It really kicked a lot of people up the arse as well to think about how they're thinking about things. It questioned people's beliefs about races, and it questioned people's beliefs about the time. Questioned people. I've known people that have watched the episode and just thought that was so fucking
right. What did you?
What's that?
Yeah. I got to watch now an episode and it's showing what she's going through and the symbols on the. It was like, and her facial expressions, like you believed she was Rosa Parks. You saw the struggle in her face, the pain in her face, and it was hard to watch, but you needed to watch it because you needed to see what was going on back then. That's
isn't it funny though, the fact that all the episodes, all of the scenes without the Doctor, but had to deal with Rosa were so great, but when they had to delve with the Doctor, it's like, well, come on, let's fast forward it. Come on, fast forward.
I mean, the scenes with the Doctor with the villain, she could have, knowing that he can't hurt her.
Yeah, she
could have just used the Aikido on him, and he would have been done and put him in the TARDIS. But like all of a sudden, she didn't know how to do Aikido. Like, guys choking the crap out of her.
That was just like, here's your one nod. Here, original fans. Here's your one nod. We're not going to use this.
This is how the writers' room is not working because you would say, "Hey,
this is a throwaway thing." So
right, you just used Aikido in the last episode. Why shouldn't she do it as a recurring thing? And then you could have just had him. It could have been later on in the episode
because she knew that he wouldn't be able to go through with it anyway because he had the neuro. What was it called?
The inhibitor.
The neuro inhibitor in his head anyway, so he wouldn't be able to. It would probably react in a way. For example, it give him a shock to the body. I can't remember exactly what happened, but he kind of had a reaction, didn't he? And then he fell to the floor.
Yeah, he couldn't. He couldn't do anything. He was.
So I think he knew.
It's same from Class, really. That's Miss Quill had the same thing.
Yeah, I think she knew that the inhibitor would do its job anyway, and it would stop him from going any further than he could. With like,
but isn't that more dangerous? That now he has to be innovative to figure out how to do things without hurting people, but getting people to hurt people.
No, not necessarily.
Like a puppet master, like he would have to now use his brain to try to outsmart somebody and trick.
Like, for example, if you had one person that was pointing a gun at you, but there was someone else pointing a gun at them, and you knew that person behind them was going to shoot that person, even though they were threatening to shoot you before that they were going to shoot you. You get where I'm coming from? Yeah. Would you rather risk it and attack that person wanting to shoot you? Or would you just wait it out until that person behind them shot them?
Right.
You get what I mean?
Mm.
What I think it would have been far more dangerous had she actually attacked him. Then she just waited for the inhibitor to do the job.
But it kind of defeats it kind of defeats his object. If he willingly knows he's got an inhibitor in him and he can't do nothing, why did he go back in time in the first place?
Because his intention was never to kill Rosa Parks,
but to just
send her through time.
But isn't that more dangerous for the back in time?
It was never really explained why he was racist.
Yeah.
The only two things I lied about
his he could travel. Why don't he travel?
Yeah, but was his intention a racial intention anyway?
If you listened really carefully to when he was explaining what he'd done to end up in Stormcave, He implied that he killed a couple of thousand of minorities.
Oh, did he say it? Did he actually say minorities?
Yeah, because well, he emphasized.
Said people.
No, he emphasized. I can't remember the exact line, but he actually emphasized. But I wouldn't want it to color your view of me.
Oh, I see. Okay.
I think it's really clever dialogue. So you kind of got from that the people he'd killed were minorities. So maybe Muslims, blacks, Hindis.
Right.
So then, yeah, I get it. I get that.
And now he's back further in time to cause more damage.
Yeah, and he wants to stop the thing that would probably. Yeah, that's the thing that they didn't really explain is why he went that far back to do that.
No, but now Ryan zapped him and he went in the past again. So now he went to Alan Cummings' time or what?
He went forward. He went to the far future.
No, he didn't. He went to the far past.
No, the
gun that he had.
The displacement
sent you back in time.
No, it sent you forward.
The placement sends you forward because she said that something about being with the dinosaurs.
No, she said that it sends you to the far future.
Why did she say the dinosaurs then? Didn't she say something towards the effect of he's in a time probably where he can't even do anything now, or no?
No. She said that the displacement thing sent you to the far, far future.
Okay, I gotta watch it again then.
But you don't
remember that.
Yeah, you don't know where. So, what my theory is that we're going to see him again. Maybe in episode 10. I don't. The thing I'm getting from this series is that none of these monsters have been defeated. They've been like momentarily
side paused or whatever.
Yeah, they've been interrupted. I'll say.
So when are we gonna have a villain that's defeated?
Well,
when we get a different doctor.
No.
I'm not sure.
What about the spiders? The spiders are going to flat out get killed, no?
Yeah, I think they'll get. I think very certain villains this series are going to be dealt with differently because they're going to return.
Right.
For a bigger plot arc. But I
have another question for you, Connor.
Okay.
So now I saw something on there saying that now that's not 11 episodes, they're 10. What is going on with that one episode? What the hell is that episode? Is it a Christmas episode? Is it a New Year's episode?
The previous editor of DWM kind of let something out of the bag when talking about the delay a few days ago.
Okay.
He said that thing that we'd heard about New Year's is true. And that the only episode of Doctor Who you're going to get in 2019 is on New Year's Day.
See, I fucking called that shit. You see that shit?
But I'm fully of the belief that Series 12 is going to start filming next month, and they're going to get it out by the back end of 2019.
Why they put the episode in 2019 just in case they don't make it?
They put it in to just for the sake of change. I think that they're putting it on New Year's Day now, just because it's new and
it's a new year. It's a new year though. So just in case you can't say it hasn't been every year.
That could be a reason, yeah. But I'm fully of the belief that we'll get a series next year.
You think we will? And so that rumor about the 2020 thing is
because here's the thing.
Go on.
Well, let me ask you a question. First of all, episode comes out, and then you don't have another episode until December. Well, first of all, here's the thing. If they're still doing the Christmas specials every year, right? And maybe they're just skipping this year or whatever the reasoning behind it, right? Then the first episode we see for Series 12 should be a Christmas special, no? For next year.
Yeah.
Just like Husbands of River Song, and then boom, Dr. Mysterio. They're doing the same shit.
I see what you mean.
Yeah, and Dr. Mysterio technically counts as the first episode of Series 10. So I guess, you could see it that way.
Not really.
It's on the box set as the first episode, isn't it? I think.
Count that as the first episode? Isn't
on the series 10 box set? It's the first one.
Special though. It's first episode, because if you look it up listing wise, it's a special. It's not a special. It's not going to series 10. It's not that.
I think the closest thing that we can go on is
production. It's the pilot.
I think is the closest thing that we can go on is production
pilot.
I think the production code
series 10. Yeah.
I think the production code for Dr. Mysterio is 10.x, which is what every Christmas special is. So it's technically the first episode of series 10. The thing that they're doing differently is that the Christmas special, the time around, or the New Year special, whatever it's going to be, is the 11th episode of
series 11.
Of series 11. So it'll be 11.11.
Yeah.
What they counting as series 12? They're not, right?
Yeah, I don't think the upcoming Christmas special is going to be part of series 12.
As series 12, the first episode, right?
Well, series 12's first episode will be whatever episode 1 of series 12 is. Like, it'll be the first regular one. I don't think.
What do you think is going to happen, Connor? You really believe that they're going to squeak out something for 2019?
I think they'll get a series out, yeah. I do think that filming is going to start very, very soon, and then they'll continue right through until whenever it airs, maybe October again.
Mm-hmm. If they're keeping the same schedule, then yeah.
Going to come out again. It's going to be, if that's the latest they can go, right?
Yeah.
Is Olivia Colman?
Well, considering that she was in 11th Hour, I don't think that she's going to be in anything. Well, she might be in series 12, because Vinette Robinson, who played Rosa, was in 42. So I don't think it matters. I don't. Olivia Colman might appear. I don't think she'll play the Doctor though, which is what everyone wants.
Okay, I'm back. I got kicked out.
Okay.
I don't know what's going on with this.
You're really
and this. Thank you guys. All right.
Okay.
Take care. Bye for now.
Ciao.